the town of Cobalt to order on January 14th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. None. For three public meetings, there are none. 4 deputations, delegations. 4.1, Matthew McLaren, 34 Cobalt Street, minor variance consideration. Matthew, if you'd like to come to the center here.
I have copies of that I'm going to present for members that are an hour after the 7 round.
Is that your letter you said?
Yeah, that's basically just exactly what I'm going to. No, that's the one I'm going to read now. The other ones are. So what I want to present.
Okay.
I value the opportunity to respond to the concerns raised and to clarify how this application aligns with the town of Cobalt's long-term vision for growth, as well as the criteria set forth under the Planning Act and the local zoning bylaws. I originally sent a letter dated December 11th regarding council's appetite in granting a minor variance for the former United Church building located at 34 Cobalt Street. This variance, as stated in the letter, would serve to allow the opening of a 24-hour fitness facility. On December 24th, I received a response back, which I thank you for expediting due to the Christmas holidays and the New Year's break. This response letter was based on the recommendation of the planning department. Both letters, I believe, you should already have in your possession, and I trust you've reviewed. I would like to address the points raised in your response to my letter and provide arguments that I believe demonstrate that the minor variance application does meet the statutory requirements and should be considered favorably. Number 1, the institutional zone and the definition of community center. It is acknowledged that the Cobalt zoning bylaw permits a variety of uses in the institutional zone, including community centers. However, as you pointed out, the bylaw requires that these facilities be operated by a municipality, a local board, or an agent of the municipality. I understand this provision, but I would argue that the broader objectives of the zoning bylaw and the official plan support the flexibility needed to allow privately operated facilities such as the one proposed in this case. The Planning Act allows municipal councils to grant minor variances if the requested variance meets the general intent of the zoning bylaw. This proposal will serve as a community resource similar in function to a municipally operated fitness center. The definition of community center in the bylaw, while restricting control to municipal entities, should not exclude a facility that will contribute positively to the town's objectives. The facility will provide necessary amenities, support the community's health, and offer an attractive service to residents and newcomers alike. This aligns with the goals outlined in Section 1 of the official plan for promoting development that enhances the social and economical fabric of Cobalt. Number 2, timing and consultation period for zoning amendments versus minor variances. While it is true that zoning bylaw amendments may only add 10 days to the consultation period, the administrative burden and associated costs are considerably higher. Minor variances provide an efficient path for modest adjustments that do not undermine planning objectives. This approach is consistent with modern planning principles and community needs. Municipalities are encouraged to expedite processes that align with their overall development strategy, balancing procedural efficiency with developmental needs. Given the town's commitment to encouraging new business, it seems reasonable to prioritize this timely and cost-effective processing of applications that contribute to the town's growth. A minor variance can achieve this desired result with minimal delay and in alignment with the broader goals of attracting businesses and residents to Cobalt. Number 3, physical restrictions and the aesthetic integrity. Concerns raised about setbacks, parking, and maintenance of the aesthetic integrity were addressed, stating that these can be addressed through a zoning amendment. However, these matters are precisely the type of issues that minor variances are designed to address. The Planning Act provides the framework for municipalities to approve variances from the zoning bylaw when they meet 4 tests of the minor variance. The proposal I'm putting forward respects the underlying principles of the zoning bylaw with the minimal alteration of the existing framework and ensures the development will maintain the aesthetic integrity of the area. Setbacks and parking can be appropriately addressed through the minor variance without the need for a more extensive zoning amendment process. This approach also demonstrates that maintaining the aesthetic integrity of the neighborhood can be considered in determining whether a variance is appropriate, even when the development is privately operated. Number 4, the 4 tests of a minor variance. As outlined in Section 45, subsection 1 of the Planning Act, there are 4 key tests to determining the appropriateness of a variance. Number 1, the variance maintains the general intent and purpose of the plan. The proposal aligns with the town's vision of fostering economic development and improving the quality of life for residents. The official plan emphasizes providing services that enhance the quality of life for residents. A fitness facility at 34 Cobalt Street aligns with this objective as it contributes to sustainable growth and development. Number 2 of the 4 tests, the variance maintains the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. The requested variance is minor in nature and does not fundamentally alter the character of the institutional zone. Minor deviations from zoning regulations, such as those in this case, can be granted when they are consistent with the overall objectives of the zoning bylaw. Test number 3, the variance is desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land. The fitness facility will directly contribute to the town's goals of increasing services to residents and attracting new businesses. This is consistent with the community objectives. My facility meets these criteria as a community-oriented fitness center, and the facility makes use of an existent vacant building. And test number 4, the variance is minor in nature. The requested variance is relatively small and only involves the shift from municipally controlled to privately operated facilities. This makes it a reasonable adjustment to the zoning bylaw that does not significantly affect the public interest of the surrounding properties. Number 5, the discriminatory aspect between public and private ownership. I wish to address the concern regarding the distinction between municipally owned and privately owned facilities. As noted, Cobalt's zoning bylaw appears to favor public control over community facilities, but this distinction may be unnecessarily restrictive, especially in a town seeking to expand its business space. Municipal zoning regulations should not unduly discriminate against private entities that can offer services to the public, particularly when the public benefit is clear. The assertion that the facility must be municipally controlled is inconsistent with the evolution of zoning interpretations. Private ownership does not negate compatibility with public-oriented zoning objectives. If the use remains consistent with community-serving purposes, the operational structure of my facility ensures accountability and alignment with the public goals. By permitting private ownership of this fitness facility, the town would not only meet a pressing community need, but also encourage the growth of the local economy. Number 6, the official plan dated June 2022, the proposed minor variance at 34 Cobalt Street permit its use as a fitness facility is consistent with the town of Cobalt's official plan dated June 2022 and aligns with several relevant sections and subsections. Section 1.3 objectives highlights the need to promote economic development, enhance the provision of community services, and encourage land uses that contribute to the town's vitality, all of which are achieved through the establishment of a fitness facility. Section 2, land use strategies, advocates for the efficient use of existing properties and the introduction of complementary uses that contribute to a balanced mix of services in the community. The fitness facility aligns with these goals by utilizing existing infrastructure in a manner that supports healthy living and meets community needs. Section 3 of the plan, quality of life, emphasizes the importance of fostering health, safety, and well-being within the community. The fitness facility directly supports these objectives by providing opportunities for physical activity, enhancing residents' overall quality of life. Section 5.5.1, minor variances, sets out criteria ensuring that variances uphold the intent of the official plan, are desirable for appropriate development, and are minor in nature. This proposal satisfies these conditions that it represents a low impact change that enhances community services while adhering to the broader planning principles. Overall, a minor variance request aligns with the official plan's vision, objectives, and strategies, making it a beneficial addition to the town. In conclusion, I respectfully request that the town of Cobalt reconsider the position on a minor variance application. This variance aligns with the intent of the zoning bylaw, fills the tests outlined in the Planning Act, and is in line with the town's objectives of fostering new business and attracting residents. A minor variance is an appropriate tool for this situation. I believe it will better assist the town in supporting Cobalt's long-term goals. We are basically discussing a change in definition from any tract of land or building or buildings or any part of buildings used for community activities, whether used for commercial purposes or not, the control of which is vested in a municipality, a local board, or agent thereof, and may include an auditorium, swimming pool, arena, and fitness center. This is the only place in the zoning bylaws that mentions a fitness center. And we're changing, the minor variance would change that to any tract of land or building or buildings or any part of any buildings used for community activities, whether used for commercial purposes or not, and may include an auditorium, swimming pool, arena, and fitness center. So basically you just remove the municipality control. I would think that that is a fairly minor change. As council, you have a responsibility to support and ensure the growth of Cobalt as a whole, but also unique power and ability to help encourage and foster it. I thank you for your time and consideration. I'm happy to discuss further and provide any additional information if required. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. McLaren. We appreciate all the work you put into this. And at this point, it's not, unfortunately, a matter that council can consider. That doesn't happen until the application has been filed, or the appropriate application has been filed.
So basically, I'm asking for the appetite. Like I can file the application for the $750, deny it, then I have to go to the $4,000 zoning bylaw. So basically, I'm asking, what's the town's appetite for doing this? I understand you can't speak to that right now.
You're putting council in a really tough position
I
because
understand you can't speak to that right now. That's why I just wanted to propose this, and possibly they can get back to me with, whether it would be something that you're open to, that, we can go that route, or no, we're dead set against it, do the zoning bylaw straight out.
Okay.
Basically just in future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Okay, number 5, adoption of meeting agenda, draft motion. Actually, before I read it, there's a correction. Sorry, be it resolved that council approve the agenda of the regular meeting dated January 14th, 2025 as presented. I need a mover in a second. Councillor Lafleur and Councillor Anderson. There is a correction to the agenda. Item 10.3, the correction to adopt amendment number 5, not number 4. For bylaw 2025-03. Okay. Any other clarification, corrections anybody's noticed? No? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Unfortunately, Councillor Hunter, I can't see you unless you speak. So unless I hear a nay from you, I'll assume you're voting in favor.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Item 6, adoption of previous council minutes, draft motion. Be it resolved that council approve the following minutes as presented. Regular meeting of council, December 10th, 2024. Need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hughes and Councillor Lafleur. Any discussion, errors, omissions? All in favor? Carried. Item 7, staff reports, draft motion. Be it resolved that council accepts staff reports as presented. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Hughes, Councillor Starchuk. Okay, 7.1 Cobalt Library minutes, November 16th, 2024. Any discussion? 7.2 staff report 2025-01-1401 municipal line of credit.
Your Worship, may I speak on this?
Yeah.
Every January, council passes to allow us to borrow any funds if required in an emergency. So this is just every January comes to the table.
Any questions? No? Okay. 7.3, staff report 2025-01-14-02, interim tax levy. Steve?
Again, this is another annual bylaw. Here it is for the dates of February 28th, 2025 and April 30th, 2025.
So we don't anticipate a budget being struck by then. Okay. Any other clarification questions? Okay, 7.4, staff report 2025-01-14-03, amendment number 5 to user fee bylaw 2023-33. Any questions, clarifications?
Last February, Council passed resolution 2024-07 opting to the TMSA, which is Temiskaming Municipal Services Association for a municipal planner. It was more of a feeling out process for that, and they didn't know really what the charges would be. So therefore, they came back to us with the charges for 2025 and 2026, going from 750 to 1,044 minor variance applications.
Okay.
And that's just to cover their fees.
To cover their fees, okay. Okay. Any questions, clarification required on that? All right, all in favor? Carried. 8, items for council consideration. 8.1, Cobalt Fire Department recruits. Any comments, questions? Yeah, hang on. Sorry, yeah.
I'll let you.
Okay. Draft motion, be it resolved that council approve the recommendation from the Cobalt Fire Chief to appoint the following applicants as volunteer firefighters to the Cobalt Fire Department, which brings the complement up to 24 members. 1, Jake Murphy. 2, Jenna Gordon. And 3, Pat LaBelle. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Wilcox, Councillor Anderson. Discussion? No? Okay, all in favor? Carried. I believe that brings us to a full complement
It
now?
does.
I had a question.
Oh.
Is that Jake Murphy? Is that the officer? The police officer, Jake Murphy? Kevin Murphy's son?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I was just wanted that cleared up. Thank you.
8.2, letter of support, Township of Aventureau, request to the Ministry of Health to consider funding Hope Air Northern Health Travel Grant. Draft motion. Whereas the government of the province of Ontario has made important enhancements to the Northern Health Travel Grant, and whereas those enhancements will provide meaningful support through partial reimbursement of travel expenses for those traveling long distances for medical care, and whereas upfront costs for airfare, accommodations, and other necessities often reach thousands of dollars, with some essential travel expenses continuing to remain ineligible for reimbursement. And whereas Hope Air continues to bridge this gap, complementing the government's policy, reduce barriers of distance and cost in access to healthcare for Northern Ontario patients. And whereas the demand for services of Hope Air continues to grow, now therefore the Council of the Town of Cobalt expresses its support for the resolution from the Township of Aventureau requesting that the Ministry of Health consider funding Hope Air in 2025 to support its vital work in assisting the residents of Northern Ontario to receive access to health care they deserve. And further, that the resolution be directed to the Minister of Health and circulated to the Premier of Ontario, the Minister of Finance, the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, and the Temiskaming Municipal Association. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Anderson and Councillor Wilcox. Any discussion? Councillor Anderson?
I'd just like to say that I found out about Hope Air about a year and a half ago, and they do really, really good work. And, you know, they're able to do the extra because of donations just from people and stuff. It's a very worthwhile service that we've got in the north. So they deserve all the provincial funding they can get.
All in favor? Carried. Items for council information, 9. Items for council information. Draft motion, be it resolved that council accept the items for council information as presented. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Lafleur, Councillor Starchuk. Discussion, 9.1, resident feedback survey 2024. Any discussion, comments?
Sure.
Yeah.
Staff received, 530 surveys went out to the public on October 16th. Only 15%, 76 of them, of the surveys were returned. So it's only 15% of all surveys that this shows for.
I, for one, would like to say I was very disappointed in the response, considering we get a lot of criticism that we're not transparent and we don't involve the public. I think that this was a very important survey for our residents to respond on, because unfortunately now it's going to be left to council and a very small portion of our population weighing in on some very important decisions that we're going to have to make for the viability of our town in the future. I don't know what else to say. I don't know if we can put out a second round of surveys. I don't know what council's appetite is for that. Or do you think we would do any better in a second round?
I think it was too much confusion. What we wanted, what we wanted to hear.
I don't know if the public has any feedback of how we could make the survey better. They're more than welcome to send it.
Online.
Put it online.
Send the suggestions to the town office, or pass it through any of the councilors. 9.2, staff report 2025-01-1404, meeting calendar for Q1 of 2025. Any questions, clarifications, discussion? None. Okay, all in favor? Carried. 10, bylaws and agreements. 10.1, bylaw 2025-01, municipal line of credit, staff report 2025-01-1401. Draft motion, whereas council received staff report 2025-01-1401 with a recommendation to adopt bylaw 2025-01, be it resolved that the bylaw number 2025-01 being a bylaw to authorize the municipal line of credit for the year 2025 be taken as read a first, second, and third time this 14th day of January 2025, and further that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Lafleur and Councillor Hughes. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. 10.2, draft bylaw 2025-02, interim tax levy, staff report 2025-01-1402. Draft motion, whereas council received staff report 2025-01-1402 with a recommendation to adopt bylaw 2025-02. Now therefore be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-02 being a bylaw to adopt an interim tax levy for the corporation of the town of Cobalt be taken as read a first, second, and third time this 14th day of January 2025, and further that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Anderson, Councillor Starchuk. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. 10.3, draft bylaw 2025-03, amendment number 5 to user fee bylaw 2023-33, related to staff report 2025-01-1403. Draft motion. Whereas at the February 20, 2024 regular meeting, council passed resolution 2024-27 opting in to the Timiskaming Municipal Services Association TMSA expansion of a municipal planner. And whereas the TMSA board has adjusted their planning fee schedule to better reflect the services requested by the communities which aim to maintain a cost recovery approach while aligning the fees with the actual service demand. And whereas council received staff report 2025-01-1403 with a recommendation to adopt bylaw 2025-03. Now therefore be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-03 being a bylaw, adopt amendment number 5 to user fee bylaw 2023-33 for the corporation of the town of Cobalt be taken as read a first, second, and third time this 14th day of January 2025, and further that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. Need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Lafleur, Councillor Hughes. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. 11, unfinished business, none. 12, new business, 12.1, schedule of accounts. Draft motion, be it resolved that council receive the following schedules as presented. Schedule number 2024-24 in the amount of $298,932.21. Schedule number 2025-01 in the amount of $25,518.27. A mover and a seconder, Councillor Lafleur and Councillor Anderson. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Carried. 13, Mayor's report. Well, I hope everybody had a very good holiday season and they've recovered sufficiently. And I don't really have much to report, so we'll just move right along. 14, closed meeting, draft motion. Be it resolved that council convene in closed session as per section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended in order to address a matter pertaining to subsection 2A, security of property of the municipality or local board. Need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Lafleur, Councillor Starchuk. All in favor? Carried. And just to advise everybody that we won't be continuing the video recording for Zoom after we come back to close. And we'll do a 10-minute recess.